Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Wednesday, March 22nd. We are in between seasons, Kevin, so no better time than for us to look back on this winter season. We've got the top plays, top games, top performances, a whole highlight package all set up today.
I think we got lucky this winter season. We saw some great events in track and field, wrestling, cheerleading, and as well we saw some great performances on the ice on the hardwood.
And really, even going back to the fall, we've just been blessed with great games throughout this entire year so far. I mean, Eric, how many times did we have to pull some extra duty there going to overtime in the winter?
Winter, fall, I mean, to steal Kevin's point he was going to make yesterday, we had the overtime, the Turkey Bowl, and then, when we kept going into, how many overtimes we had? We saw so many great games in the last 4 months or so. We hope to keep it going into the spring. Spring has a lot to live up to because this winter season has been phenomenal.
Phenomenal, and it's not even just individual overtime games. We're talking multiple overtimes in these games as well. You had triple overtime in the semis of the girls' basketball championships, double overtime in both the boys' semis and the championship game. It was so much fun, most of all, I think, to be a part of. You go and you look at these games, and there were times where you might have said, oh, there was some sloppy play. Teams were struggling to score, but the energy from all the squads and the players out there, the fans really made these atmospheres so special.
Right, and I think that's a good word to use, energy. I think no matter what, even though we saw, you're right, some sloppy play, especially on the basketball end, there were times, players were missing their foul shots, lots of turnovers, low-scoring games, but at the end of the day, I think we forgot about the score, and we were more, I think, loving how much the energy there was on the floor, not only from the players, but you're right, from the fans and the parents. And the student sections were phenomenal. I mean, look at that FCIAC final between Richfield and Wilton. I don't think any of us have seen student sessions like that in a while. And boy, the Richfield and Wilton student sessions, I got to give them a ton of credit.
And you're right. It's been so long that there really has been an atmosphere similar to that. People will argue the Boyle Stadium, Turkey Bowl games, but it's just not as intimate being inside that barn where you're packed right on top of each other. They're above the court.
Literally, though. You and I were just...
It really was a great season. And we're going to go through all of our top games a little later in the show. We'll talk about some of the best performances we saw from individual athletes. But let's start with some of the best plays that we saw all winter season. And I want to go to Eric first and see one that stood out for him.
Let's see here. Well, we got a whole bunch of them to go through here. Well, why don't we pick a sport? Pick a sport, any sport.
Let's go with boys hockey to start here.
Okay, well then let's jump right into the playoffs. We had an incredible game in the playdowns, and we saw Greenwich eliminate a 4-2 deficit, scoring the final 3 goals in the game, and then we got to see this play.
Forechecking by Fairfield sets up a lot of space for Santry. Santry up the middle. He shots. He scored! Connor Santry with the goal! Left all alone at center ice! And Greenwich with the 5-4 win. They scored a final 3 goals to win this playdown game.
That was the HAN Network's John Kovac on the call, and it wasn't the most exciting play with the way it developed, but as John mentioned, Greenwich scoring the final 3 goals. They're the 6th seed in that tournament, and they get the OT winner, stunning Fairfield. We had a lot of fun working with the Greenwich team this year. Coach Rurik, obviously a close friend of the show now, one of our favorites in the conference, a blast getting to work with him his first year. I was saying at one point in time, maybe we do the top fails of the winter season, and you interviewing Coach. We had a great ongoing joke all season long. Coach Rurik wanted us to come on the bench and interview him mid-game.
Right.
Later in the tournament, the semifinals, they're trailing 2-1 to New Canaan. Coach gives you the nod, invites you on the bench.
Listen. I got the nod. He said, Coach, you're coming in the game, Kevin. And so I hopped on the bench, and we actually had a great time together. It was a cool experience because I never played hockey, so I never got that feel of what it's actually like during a game on a bench, and that was a pretty cool moment. And to sit next to him and have an open mic basically, and you guys were willing to let me come down every once in a while. And it was unfortunate that he actually gave us a great update, and then all of a sudden New Canaan scored, and it was unfortunate, but again, Coach Rorak has been so great to us all season long, and we look forward to working with him in the future.
And it was he was so light about it, a funny moments, knowing that he jinxed it kind of thing. But that was a Greenwich team that had to fight through a lot of injuries, overcome a lot of adversity. For them to make it where they did into the FCIAC semis, they have nothing to hang their heads about. It's a very young team, too. They're going to be back. We expect big things from those programs and love what Coach is doing, really connecting that varsity program to the youth program as well, Eric.
Yeah, absolutely. And, first time and last time on that bench there, Kevin. But no, absolutely. I mean, this Greenwich team has a really bright future. And, both the boys and girls teams, have had a lot of success this year, and both are very young. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do next season.
Of course, the girls winning the FCIAC championship. Let's keep rolling through some of these top plays. Let's go all the way back, Eric, to our first championship we saw in the fall, where we had a record-setting performance in the pole vault from Leah Zavataro.
As Leah is set to go. Attempt number 3 at 11.6. Underway. Up high, up, and she got it. And well done. That ties the FCIAC championship.
Unbelievable tie in the FCIAC record in the pole vault, Kevin. You were down track level for that whole performance as it went on. Her father is her coach. What was the interaction like between them on that night?
It was really cool actually to see that, and actually for someone who didn't know that, you couldn't even tell, and you couldn't even tell once you found out that that was her father, that was her coach. They have a great relationship together. But if you look at that highlight, you got to see the camera couldn't quite get the full crowd around, but that was behind her where I was. But you had runners stopping what they were doing to watch her go, which speaks volumes to how great of a talent she has to get 11.6. And, she's still got another year left, which is pretty amazing. So, we're looking forward to seeing what she does next year. Can she break the record? I certainly think she can.
She's got a full 3 seasons, including the outdoor track and field portion, to build off of her record. And you're right, that was one of my favorite moments in the fall when you've got the 55-meter boys sprint getting ready to go. And as she hits that mark, they all stop, and everyone down there was applauding. That was very cool. We take the sportsmanship in this conference for granted, and you saw it a lot on display, especially in this season with some heartbreaking moments, some very tough defeats, but the athletes always thinking about their competitors throughout the entire season. Let's keep rolling along in order. Up next, we've got some wrestling highlights. One of the plays of the year, well, he was a state record setter himself. Let's go to Tim Kane of the Fairfield Ward Mustangs.
Wrestling in what will be his final FCIAC match. Fairfield Ward's all-time win leader.
Alex gets off his back, 9-0. 20 seconds left in this first period.
Kane just relentless here.
Yeah, Jamadi, you try to stay. You almost just want to stay still because anything you do is going to come back to haunt you. And he does not get out of the first period. Tim Kane does not allow the match to get out of the first period. 5 seconds left.
What a way to end your FCIAC career. Well done by Tim.
An unbelievable performance by Tim Kane in the FCIAC championship. That gave him the Connecticut career record for pins in a career. I think that made him, I believe that was the match that put him over the top for wins as well. He was unbelievable to get to watch this year and so dominant in that championship match back on that wrestling afternoon.
I mean, just look at him. He's a beast. And Tim Kane, what a talent he is. And, if you look back at that Danbury meet that they had, Fairfield Ward went to Danbury. Danbury obviously won that meet, but he stood out to me because he pinned his Danbury opponent so fast. And, he's a wrestler that a lot of people sit back and really watch. They're looking forward to seeing him go up against some of the best in the FCIAC and some in the state. So again, congratulations to Tim Kane. What a talent he really is.
Those just a couple of the top plays. Coming up next, we're going to get into the basketball season, which provided plenty of drama and some spectacular highlights. That coming up next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Get a fresh start to the new year by shaking up your meal routine. Walter Stewart's Market is your local source for a delicious selection of fresh and convenient salad shakers, like Southwest salad with chicken, Cobb with organic chicken, Power Vegan with fruit and quinoa, Greek salad with tabbouleh, and grilled shrimp with hominy. Grab one from our salad case or order from our deli today. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
When it comes to considering the outside of your home, just imagine the possibilities. Whether your dream is a stunning freeform pool or a tranquil, secluded garden, the team of professionals at Stonebridge Associates will make it a reality. We offer unparalleled landscape design and construction, masonry development, pools, spas, and water features, as well as landscape and garden maintenance. No other firm can offer the same level of creativity, quality, and personal attention. Discover the possibilities at stonebridgeassociates.net or call 203-544-8376 today.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN Network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier Network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman, Eric Gendron directing. And we are going to take a look now, Kevin, at the boys and girls basketball season. They deserve a block to themselves. It was one of the most dramatic seasons we've seen in quite some time.
Oh, man, some of the best basketball I've seen in a long time, Frank. I mean, man, there's some really, and I mean really good athletes on the basketball floor this winter season on the boys and girls side. Man, and you're right, we saw some high drama games that really went down to the wire, some great buzzer beaters, some thrilling overtime games. We really did get very lucky and very fortunate that we got to see and broadcast some great games.
We also had some big dunks in a couple of those playoff games.
Right.
We're going to take a look at those now. If you had to pick a favorite dunk, which one was it for you?
I don't know. That's tough. I mean, Jordan Alleen's was pretty nasty. I think I'm going to go with Jordan Alleen, the Danbury Hatters.
We got the shout out from Titus James on Twitter. He wanted to see the Jordan Alleen put back. We've got it for him here as one of our top plays of the year.
5-0 run. We are tied up at 22. Fox up top, barking out signals, and they'll reset with Crandall on the right wing. Tried to get past Longo. Now Marcus Fox with a little hesitation inside. And the putback! Oh!
Where did he come from? Jordan Alleen.
Woo!
You could just see him taking off from the wing. He had a beat on it the whole way. And get up, young man. Get up.
And how about the stare down after? That was pretty
man.
dope as well. I mean, just he well deserved. When you make a dunk like that at any level, you have the right to kind of stand there and kind of stare at your opponent a little bit because, man, that was a filthy dunk.
Another filthy dunk came from Dimitri Moist. That was in the quarterfinals when Trinity Catholic took on Wilton. It was part of a huge run that ended with a Coach Garriak technical foul. It sent the place into a frenzy as Moist threw it down in the break out in the open floor. Here's a look at this one.
Matala inside, and how about that block? Up ahead, Moist on the slam! What a big moment here. Garriak just got teed up.
At that point in time, I think that was as loud as we had heard the Fairfield War Gym on that quarterfinal day.
I mean, listen, at that point, I think you and I pretty much thought that Trinity was going to wrap this baby up. And I think, that was a mass. And how about Contavia with the block?
That's what I was going to say next. I'm glad you mentioned it, man.
That started it. And just to see it come down, Cameron Blake, nice little unselfish feed to Moyes, and he just slams it home. What a pretty dunk.
It was unbelievable, and you're right. I think at that point in time, all signs, Eric, were pointing to Trinity running away with that one. But give credit to Coach Garriak, because you could argue that was a play of the year, too. That technical really got the Warriors going.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you see, a coach get teed up. You hear about, like, good penalties in hockey. That was really a turning point moment for the Wilton postseason right there. I mean, that was the point where they really dug down and started the comeback right there. But I think, we did see some amazing basketball this year. I tell you, we saw some ugly first quarters. So I think we needed those overtimes to make up for those terrible first quarters that we saw for a lot of the games.
Well, we weren't just big dunks in the winter, Eric. We had some crazy buzzer beaters along the way, too. Why don't you pick one of them that we can start out here with as a top play?
Oh, man. I mean, how can you, start anywhere but with this shot in the FCIAC semifinal from a certain Ridgefield Tiger.
There flashes left. Essen player over to the right now. Pulls up. Three-pointer on the way. It's good!
Oh! McNamara!
We're heading to overtime.
Set the pick for Essen player to get the bucket.
I will defer to you on this one.
I mean, Zach Essen player, what else can you say? What a clutch shot to tie the game up, force overtime. Brendan McNamara, can't forget, sets the screen in order for Essen player to open up and go down the sideline and hit that. And Frank, what's funny is talking to Mr. Essen player after that game, he said, I can't believe he made that. He's not a shooter. That's the funny part. I mean, Zach is a phenomenal basketball player, but he's not known for his range. And for the fact that he hit that, it was amazing.
Well, you think about when we were talking before that play, who's going to get the ball, who do they want to give it to, and we were very confident, this is going to Brendan McNamara. You can't put it in anyone else's hands. Selfless play by him to set the screen, and an unreal shot by Zach Essen player. It was such a huge shot, but honestly for me, I think equally as big in the girls' semifinals. First overtime, winding down, and Taylor Brown, the senior captain for the Trumbull Eagles, stepping up and knocking down a big shot. Here's a look at this top play.
Tie.
McGuire's got it open. Look at three. No good. Brown now on the second attempt. It counts! Oh!
Wow! There it is, Frank. I told you. Look for her to hit that three. She did. What a big three-pointer. Now Coach Dinko is going to try.
What an unbelievable game that was. Brown in the right place at the right time, gets the offensive board, and Trumbull able to go on and win in 3 overtimes to advance to the championship they would later win. She was not the only Trumbull Eagle, though, to crack our top plays, Eric. We have one more, I believe.
Yeah, and I would pick this for maybe my play of the year. I mean, this wasn't a buzzer beater, and Trumbull ended up losing this game, but this may have been the best pure athletic display on a single play that I saw all winter season. I mean, obviously, lots of great athleticism, and we didn't get to every game, but the one from what we covered, this, in my opinion, was the most athletic play of the winter season.
If I think Trumbull scores here, I wouldn't be surprised if he uses one of them.
Nice full, went down to his knees, off the glass, no good. He got the puck out to go. Come on.
Wow. Highlight reel, my man. Great job by J.J. Fall.
That was not the only highlight play he had in that game, too. J.J. Full, of course, in the huge three-quarter court buzzer beater before the half. Trumbull, unbelievable all year long. It's tough. They saw their season end in the semifinals of the FCIACs and in the second round of states as we get a look again here, Kevin, and just walk us through this because.
Oh, I mean, the dribbling, the level of difficulty that is, especially around defenders, that's not easy. And to be able to get your own rebound and to get your own putback in, listen, that was very, very difficult play, and it just shows how good of an athlete and how good of a basketball player J.J. Foe really, really is.
One thing I think we're going to take away from this basketball season, and it's widespread across a lot of the towns in the county now, your traditional powers, they'll get back to where they're supposed to be. I think Trinity Catholic is the early favorite for next season. West Hill will find a way to rebound. Stanford will get back up onto the rise. Schools like Wilton and Trumbull, Ridgefield, they have set a standard for basketball now in their towns. You could see the youth coming out to support these young men when they were competing. And there is a peak and an interest in basketball right now, and kids want to be a part of these programs. And it's a credit to what the coaches have done this past few years.
You're absolutely right. You mentioned Ridgefield, Wilton. Those are two towns who, maybe 4 or 5 years ago were struggling a little bit, especially in boys basketball. And there was a little bit of a lull for a couple of years in those two programs. But I think both coaches, McClellan and Garriak, have done a phenomenal job. And they're also doing a great job at the youth level, and they're getting more kids involved at the youth level, playing RBA, playing rec ball, playing travel, all the way up until they're finally in high school. And, for Ridgefield especially, just because I've been around the program for many years, I know that this is a program that, yes, they won the FCIAC final this year, and they're going to lose quite a few seniors that will be unfortunate, but they have some young players in the freshman and JV level that are very, very talented. So look out for Ridgefield in the next coming years.
I thought Coach Buddy Bray did an unbelievable job this season. Mike Walsh winning his 7th state championship with Trinity Catholic. Ryan Swaller and the work he did at Fairfield Ward and what they did throughout the end of the season. It was great basketball across the board. You didn't see the usual power, so people are knocking the conference a little bit, but what a blast it was to be a part of. And honestly, Eric, I thought we saw some of our Game of the Year candidates in there as well during the season.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we got to just spotlight what I think we all agree is the Game of the Year, the FCIAC Championship in boys basketball. Would you agree, guys?
I think that is going to be the nod there for our Game of the Year. But we're going to find out after the break when we get back and take a look at all of the games we nominated for Game of the Year on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network next.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the spring clearance event and Ram Truck Month, now through March 31st.
It's the In-Sports Athletic Functional Movement Assessment Program.
A program that uses a camera, the same camera that you use with an Xbox video game.
What it involves is 3 phases. One is the initial test, which will give you a very objective and lengthy assessment of how you are moving and where there may be imbalances.
Once test gets the results from the assessment, we'll develop a customized program for the individual.
The objective really to try to get as many young athletes through this program as possible.
Have a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Basketball, hockey, skiing, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
At the Milford Bank, we offer an extensive selection of lending products and services to meet virtually any need. Submit your application online in our Mortgage Web Center. Start to finish, you can apply for a loan in as little as 10 minutes. Our knowledgeable and helpful staff are available to meet with you at your convenience. To learn more about what we can do for you, stop by one of our Milford Bank offices or visit us at milfordbank.com. The Milford Bank, always there. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We told Dad he could have his office back if he sold 150 cars last month.
Deal's a deal.
Well, Dad, you did it. You get your office back.
Forget it. I'm having too much fun down here. My new goal, 160 cars.
Wow.
Folks, if you ever wanted a great price on a new Nissan, now is the time.
Right now, lease a 2017 Altima 2.5S for only $99 a month.
Isn't it time you got Millerized?
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune into Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back on the HAN network, it's Nutmeg Sports Winter Highlight Show. Kevin Coleman, Eric Gendron, alongside Frank Granito. We're looking at the top games of the winter season. I'll throw a first one out there for you guys, and for me, it was the girls hockey championship between Greenwich and Darien. Darien had won the last 4. You've got Greenwich now coming in trying to win their first ever. And I thought we saw one of the biggest impact performances of the year from freshman goalie Jessica Ware, as the Cardinals would take a 2-0 shutout to bring home their first ever FCIAC championship.
I mean, Jessica Ware, she's been stellar all year, and she's only a freshman. I mean, it's just ridiculous how crazy good she is as a freshman, just showing off her skills. I mean, Greenwich and Coach Alex Lorshin has to be so thrilled they have her for another 3 years. And to knock off a team like Darien, like you mentioned, 4 consecutive FCIAC titles. I mean, what a win for Greenwich, 2-0. Big win like that, and a shutout as a freshman in an FCIAC title game. Not easy to do.
And Eric, such a close game, too. It was 0-0 heading into the third. You could feel the importance of that game's first goal, and Greenwich comes out and gets it. And the great shot there from Jennifer Kelly. It was a very fun environment. You could feel the intensity all day long, and it was great to see the Cardinals pull that one off.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you know, it was a tense game throughout. You know, it was, even though it was 0-0 all the way to the third period, there was never a boring moment in that game at all. And you know, you had the feeling that Greenwich was starting to get a little momentum. They were getting more of the shots in that game, and you could kind of feel it coming at that point. And once they got that first one, you know, I think we all kind of recognized, you know, whoever was going to score that first goal was going to win the championship in that game.
I'll let you keep rolling with your next thought. Who do you like as a Game of the Year nominee here?
Oh man, you know, we saw so many great basketball games. One that kind of snuck up on us was the state game that we covered. I mean, pretty much just say Richfield. You know, just say Richfield Tigers.
Any Richfield playoff game.
Yeah. But you know, the one that kind of snuck up on us that was like, because it was such a fast game. We were in and out of there in 90 minutes. The game itself was an hour and 2 minutes long, and you know, it was kind of back and forth. And Richfield had a pretty good lead, and then all of a sudden we get this buzzer beater, and we're all saying, "Did that just really happen?" That was definitely one of my favorite games of the year.
That was an awesome game. Richfield's quarterfinal game against Fairfield Ward was another great one. Then they played Danbury to double overtime in the semis, and of course what happened in the championship. But really, you could take any of those Richfield games and argue it was one of the top games we saw.
And that quarterfinal game, Nicholas Ladowdy with the buzzer beater down low on the post to win. And you're right, the double overtime against Danbury was a classic, just because you know it's that Richfield-Danbury rivalry. And then to take that rivalry even farther, you go into the FCIAC final against Wilton. I mean, Ridgefield-Wilton, that's like New Canaan, Darien. And it's these two teams, you know, they don't hate each other, obviously, but you know, this is a big rivalry. And for the fact that these two teams play each other in the final, especially this season, how it's gone, it was only fitting. And boy, to go double overtime, I mean, you hated to see one team that had to go home on the losing column.
Let me throw one of my other favorites out there for you, and I would argue maybe the biggest upset we saw all winter season, the Danbury Cheer Squad taking home the FCIAC championship.
Amen. I mean, that was a fun day.
That was a great day.
That was a great day, and you know, I think a lot of us went into that thinking Fairfield Ludlow was going to take that home, and the fact that Danbury really brought it that day, it was a great day and a great win for the Danbury Hatters.
You could say they were a little more aggressive, Eric.
I guess so. Yeah, but no, that was a pleasant surprise for everyone. I don't think, it was kind of hard to gauge. Nobody really blew it out of the water, I would say. I mean, from our limited perspective, our limited experience in covering cheerleading. But, you could tell every time a team walked off, I mean, everyone's their own toughest critic, but every time a team walked off the mat, that everyone seemed a little disappointed with the singles teams. The co-ed, a lot of the co-ed teams, I think were really excited. I know the Norwalk team that ended up winning it. They were ecstatic about their routine. And
that's another big upset there too. Is you look at that Norwalk team, took down Stanford, who has won the last 4 or 5 championships. Norwalk couldn't believe they had won, and that was awesome for them. That was a really cool day. It was our first time being a part of something like that, and I thought we got a great competition from start to finish in that event.
Oh, you're absolutely right. We saw all schools in the FCIAC who performed were excellent. And you're right, Norwalk, what a great performance they put on. And we had the head coach on as well during the broadcast. She was great, and it was a really fun day. And Donald Eng was also excellent as a sideline reporter, doing a great job interviewing after each performance. So it really was a really cool day.
Obviously, in hockey, the quarterfinal matchup we saw between Greenwich and Fairfield, the great comeback, that was one of the games that really sticks out. I thought the first girls hockey game between Greenwich and New Canaan in the year when they tied 2-2 that we saw, that was a fun game. New Canaan with the late comeback, scoring with under a minute to go. They play to the tie. The New Canaan and Greenwich boys game as well, New Canaan ends up winning 7-4, but that was a back-and-forth game. It was fast hockey. It was fun to be a part of. It had a lot of power plays, shorthanded opportunities. We saw great hockey, but the drama we saw in basketball was unmatched and very tough to replicate.
If we're going back to the regular season too, guys, I think I got to take the Trinity Trumbull game that we covered. And I don't know if you guys remember, but after that game I said, I like Trinity. This team's going to make some noise. And
they won a state tournament. They won a state championship. I'll give you that one there. Another regular season game we did. How about when Wilton and Fairfield Ward played?
Yes.
And they were the last 2 remaining undefeated teams. It was our first time in the Z. You got the feel of that student section, how much pride they take. That was a fun night. The 20-point swing in the second half, too. That was a really good regular season game.
That was a really cool game for us to do. It was early on in January. That really, got our feet wet in order to get ready for the playoffs that came in February. That was such a cool atmosphere. And for Wilton, who, if you remember, they were down 11-0 to start the game, and you just felt like Fairfield Ward was making every shot to start the game. And again, you saw Wilton, what they did best all season long. They mount this big comeback, and at halftime they were up. Then the second half went back and forth, if you remember. It was such a fun matchup. And again, Marcel Parsons, my guy, he is, and I know Fairfield Ward ended up losing that game, but man, what a first half he had. He is so good. And it's sad that he's a senior. I'm going to miss watching him play next year. But again, Wilton, proven that, there's a reason why they went to that FCIAC final. And what a performance and what a game, you're right, it was.
There's so many games you don't want to leave out. The quarterfinal matchup between Norwalk and Fairfield Ward in girls basketball, that was a lot of fun, coming down to the wire. Deja Polk, the truth, having to hit some big free throws down the stretch. The semifinal matchup between Ward and Trumbull, them going to triple overtime. What an incredible game that was, in such a defensive struggle. It wasn't for a lack of scoring. It was defensive pressure and enthusiasm that kept that one, but I don't think there's any doubt about it. The game of the year had to have been the FCIAC championship. From Alumni Hall at Fairfield U, Ridgefield Tigers and the Wilton Warriors. Took them 2 extra periods to find out for a winner as the Tigers took home their first FCIAC championship.
It should be a lot of fun as the opening tip won by Ladowdy, and the Tigers will start. First possession of the night here. Cronenberg tried to poke one away as Longo steps into a 3. Good.
What a big 3 there by Longo, the captain.
Clone, have to say, Cato.
More than anything, he emphasized on that last possession. Be patient. Get good shots. Get good looks at the basket. Don't worry about them not falling. They're going to start falling eventually. You shoot the initial fouls first with nobody in the lane spaces. Then you administer the technicals. Now Wilton's going to inbound right across from you.
Kicked out. Breslin in the corner for 3.
Oh! Yes! Breslin! Big 3-pointer there for the Warriors here.
Game, Kevin, something we're not very used to.
That's smart.
As Cronenberg from way downtown.
Welcome to the fourth quarter, young man.
He was in the quad for that one. To give Ridgefield the lead. Gets it.
There it is. Essen player. Big moment here.
No good. Cronenberg the rebound. 2-point game with 30 seconds to play. He's going all the way to the rack. We're tied up.
Cronenberg. We are tied. What a big bucket by the senior captain. What a comeback. Big. Let's see what Cronenberg does here.
Going to try to get all the way to the rack. Inside the basket.
Wow! Cronenberg. My goodness. How clutch has he been down the stretch? Putting the Tigers up one.
Tigers up by 1. Cronenberg in the mid-range. Yes! And he's cramping. No good. Cronenberg the rebound. He traveled.
Good defense there by Essen player to get in his face, force him to move around. Question is, what's Ridgefield going to do here?
His right, all the way down low to the basket, and he gets the foul.
Wow! The senior captain, again, coming up huge.
Up ahead, Metalla to the wing at the buzzer. It won't matter. For the first time ever, the Tigers are kings of the jungle and have won the FCIAC championship.
What a game that was, and as unfortunate it is, the basketball season's over now. You can take one thing away from this. You don't have to listen to me complain about free throws anymore.
Frankie Free Throws is taking a seat on the bench.
He's going to take a seat on the bench. Eric, you had a comment you wanted to make on that last game.
I mean, I got to quote Stefan here because this game had everything. Multiple overtimes, technical fouls, cramps, scoreboard outages. My son.
Oh, my
No,
God.
not the last one.
The scoreboard outages. That I completely forgot about that part. It was such a great night. You had the place packed an hour and a half before the game even tipped off. If you were in the parking lot at 5:45, you would have thought we were an hour into the game already.
It was insane. It literally felt like a college basketball game. You felt like you were at, Cameron Indoor or any other, college hall that had a game like that, a big game like that. And, again, big credit to both communities for coming together like that for their teams.
I would say Fairfield, you would be so lucky to have that kind of an atmosphere for some of their home games.
Shots fired.
Yeah. But let's take one final look here. Top individual performance, or top performance, I will say, from the winter season. Eric, I'll start with you.
I gotta. It's not one that we saw, but just from a stature standpoint, Jacob Camacho winning the 120-pound title in New England's for Danbury. That is an incredible feat to be the top wrestler in your weight class in New England, and then also to give your team the points that he wasn't the sole reason that Danbury won New England's. They won it handily, but to come in first place in that category in New England's, to carry your team to the New England Championship, first time since 1990, I got to give it to Jacob Camacho for his performance in New England's.
Kev, top performance for you.
Sean Keegan's, he's been so clutch for the Richfield Tigers. I thought he was great in the FCIAC final, but I think the one game that stood out to me was this past one, the state final game. 35 saves against number 1 Northwest Catholic. That performance sticks out to me the most, and the fact that he was able to bring home Richfield's first state title in boys hockey.
There were a couple of performances that stood out to me, and one that stands out right away. Lexi Lucas of the Danbury cheerleading team, back at the cheerleading championships. She won the best cheerer there, did a great job in that one. Then I want to talk about Matt Cronenberg. Unfortunately, in that loss against Ridgefield, but the kid went off for 32 points after Jack Wood is ruled out with an injury. Then they lose Jack Williams to an injury. Drew Conley fouls out, but Cronenberg keeps the Warriors in that game. Jessica Ware did an unreal job in the FCIAC championship against
Kevin, you're not being stealthy at all.
Jessica Ware against Darien in the FCIAC championship as the freshman posting the shutout. You had so many great ones there. I ran the numbers this morning, Kevin. In the winter season, the FCIAC won 15 state championships. They came away with 7 runner-ups and 1 New England championship. Those are ridiculous numbers that they put up.
Absurd. Literally absurd. And it just comes to show how many good athletes are here in the FCIAC. And again, what a great winter season. And again, the spring, these spring sports teams have a lot to live up to, because not only did we see a great fall season, but we saw an even better winter season. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have a spring sports preview tomorrow. I know I hung you out to dry there, but just one more time. Ready? Banner yet wave! We'll see you back here on Nutmeg Sports tomorrow at 2.